The ballroom smells like roses and steam. Candles make little halos on the white linen like someone punched holes in the air and threaded light through. A harpist tests a G, then another, then stops. I stand under a fake ficus and hold my clutch like it's a passport, and I'm hoping they'll stamp me in. The ballroom smells like roses and steam. Candles make little halos on the white linen like someone punched holes in the air and threaded light through. A harpist tests a G, then another, then stops. I stand under a fake ficus and hold my clutch like it's a passport, and I'm hoping they'll stamp me in. A banner crawls across my lock screen before I can breathe. Family thread. June wedding. Mom. Quick reminder. Due to capacity, no +1s tonight. Love you all. Be gracious. I swipe it away, even though the sentence has already lodged behind my ribs. We've seen that line for 6 weeks on the wedding website. No +1s, no exceptions. The savings were for the couple's future. I rely on Uberpool and a nervous system that goes off like a car alarm at 3 a.m. I would have liked one steady shoulder. But I said, okay. I ironed my dress. I drove 2 hours. I arrived at 5:06 p.m. with a clean jaw and a small hope that behaving would buy me peace. The escort cards glow in alphabetical rows on a mirrored tray. I find Rowan Hale tucked between Rexley, Dawn, and Santiago, Carlos. The calligraphy is too pretty for what it says underneath. Table 8. Rowan, Ben Carver, Ben, my ex, my almost fiancé if you count 6 months of looking at rings online and 2 nights of him crying in my kitchen about being afraid of forever. Ben, who asked me to hold his ambitions like a coat while he figured it out, and then posted his new girlfriend's hand on his chest with my caption style 2 weeks later. He is seated with me. The AC breathes on my bare shoulders. My skin prickles. The mirrored tray reflects the ceiling medallions and my mouth, suddenly tight. Around me, people murmur, a tide of compliments and logistics. The candles throw heat and forgive nothing. Behind me, a rustle. Sweetheart! Mom breezes in, a flurry of chiffon and competence, hugging me without landing. She smells like hairspray and a budget handled. They told us no +1s, I say, holding up the card like proof. But you sat me with Ben. She flutters a hand. He's not a +1, she says, like she is telling me cilantro is not parsley. He's family. He used to be, anyway. Tessa always liked him. He's here as a guest of honor. Kind of like, you know. She makes a face that means history. Be gracious. I hear the harpist shift the stool. I hear cutlery like gentle rain. I hear my own pulse push a door. Number. It is a small word. It fits behind my teeth cleanly and asks nothing from anyone except air. No, I say, and it lands like a quiet book on a clean table. Mom blinks, smile still on, as if someone bumped her freeze frame button. No? No, I will not be seated next to my ex at my cousin's wedding under a rule that keeps me alone and him grandfathered. I keep my voice low. I am not a fire alarm. I am an engineer in a control room turning a dial. Rowan, Dad says, materializing with a napkin over his arm like this is his ship. His bow tie is slightly drunk already. It's one night. Don't make it about you. We're all sacrificing. We're not all sacrificing equally, I say. I'm being asked to sit beside the person who wrecked my apartment with his boxes and my sleep with his ideas while everyone else brings whoever steadies them. I hold up the card. You sat him next to me and told me to be gracious. Don't be dramatic, Mom says, automatic as a metronome. Think of the big picture. I think of the big picture. The long table with the eucalyptus runner. The toast that will mention fate. The photo I will be in accidentally, smiling like a paper doll cut out and pasted next to a man who taught me how quiet can feel like an ambush. Okay, I say. Here's my big picture. I'm going to change this seat. Without a scene. With a sentence, I slip the card into my clutch. I'll be back for the ceremony. I walk away before they can smooth me into the napkin with their napkin words. The ballroom doors whoosh. The hallway is cool. My phone vibrates with a text from Naomi, my best friend, my Wednesday foe, my backup generator. Naomi, survived the hair trial? How's the seating hellscape? Me. No +1 for me. They sat Ben next to me. I told them no. She sends back a voice memo. Good. You're not a prop. Find a door. I'm 10 minutes away. They let me in because I told the planner I'm the friend in the bathroom with bobby pins and wisdom. Housekeeping voice, ready. Housekeeping voice. That's what she calls it when a woman stands up and announces terms like she's reminding people where the exits are. I breathe. The hallway smells like wax and floor cleaner. The door back to the ballroom holds the heat like a breath. I angle toward the lobby. The DJ is setting up in the corner, testing a mic with a soft check check. His laptop glows. I can see his request queue. Can't help falling in love. Shut up and dance. Never gonna give you up because somebody always thinks that's funny. He looks up and grins. You with the program? Not officially, I say, but I have housekeeping. He lifts an eyebrow. I've got 30 seconds between toast and salad that can save a life. You writing a speech or a boundary? Both, I say, and it tastes like steel with lemon. Both. 2. Receipts. Naomi finds me in the corridor that leads to the coat room, her curls pinned like architecture, and her dress the kind of navy blue that makes you think of the exact hour between afternoon and night when things get decided. You okay? She asks. I'm adjacent, I say. They printed my ex's name under mine on the place card. He's here as an honored guest. The rule was bent like spoons for everyone who isn't me. She offers the only answer that has ever helped me. Receipts, she says. Let's gather. We sit on a bench under a framed print of a sailboat pretending to go somewhere. I pull out my phone. It knows what I need before I do. Muscle memory is sometimes a wing. What I have, screenshot of the wedding website FAQ that says due to venue capacity, we are unable to accommodate +1s. Thank you for understanding. The group email from Aunt Linda. No exceptions. It's about intimacy. Mom's text 28 minutes ago. Be gracious. My RSVP receipt that reads one guest despite the field asking for partner's name. The escort card in my bag with 2 names that never should have been stacked again. What I need? Proof of Ben's invitation. Not as family friend, but as guest. Seating chart photo. DJ's 30 seconds. A solution that isn't a public burning, but also isn't an invisible ache. I open the family thread, scroll. 2 weeks ago, cousin Tessa, the bride. Eek! Finally seating chart done. Please don't ask for changes, I will cry. Cam, her fiancé. Also, seriously, no dates. Not even you, Zach. Love you. There's a photo attached, shot at an angle, of post-its on a board. I zoom in. Table 8. Rowan, Ben, Aunt Linda, Uncle Wayne, Cousin Zach, Emmy, Pastor Joel, plus Lisa. Plus Lisa? Naomi says over my shoulder. That plus sign is a crime. Zach brought Lisa last month to game night, I say. They've known each other 3 weeks. Which would be fine, Naomi says, if your heartbeat wasn't being means tested. I scroll deeper. There it is. Mom. Ben will be there. Just wanted to give everyone the heads up so it's not a surprise. He's always been like family. Aunt Linda. Perfect. We needed another seat at 8 anyway. Me? No reply. Because I was at my job when my family put my history in a room without asking my consent. I screen capture. I put everything into an album labeled Evidence because order takes the acid out of my blood. I find an old text from Ben from last year. You're so generous it scares me. Don't ever change. The timestamp is 2:17 a.m. The night he asked to store his books in my den, and I learned books can be an umbrella for things you don't have the strength to carry. I close the message. I am not writing that chapter again. Naomi leans her shoulder against mine. What do you want? Not what will cause the least waves. What will let you sleep? I want the people who made a rule to say it out loud while keeping their exceptions quiet, I say. To hear the rule back. I want the room to know that consent belongs at tables too. I want a different seat. And if they can't give you that? She asks. I'll give it to myself, I say. I'll move. I'll eat with the photographer and the DJ in the hallway and laugh. I'll go get tacos with you and we'll dance in a parking lot under a light that hums. She grins. Parking lot prom, she says. Again. I stand. My hands aren't shaking. I feel like the table under a cake that knows it can hold the weight without checking first. We walk back. The ceremony happens under a chuppah of eucalyptus and fairy lights. It's pretty. Cam stomps the glass gently like he's checking if the world is ready for breaking. People clap like falling asleep. I clap too. Joy is joy. Then we move to the reception. The staff carries in salads like a fleet. The DJ tests his mic again. Give me the 30 seconds, I tell him quietly, and he nods. Professional, kind. Right after the maid of honor, he says. Housekeeping voice. Hit it clean. At table 8, a folded napkin waits like a nap. The place cards stand like soldiers. Rowan. Ben. He is running late or performing lateness. Either way, his chair is empty and looks a little like a trap you only recognize once you've already sat and heard the click. Aunt Linda swoops in. You look lovely, she says, air kissing beside my ear. Ben will be so happy to see you. Be gracious. A sentence rises with no friction. No, I say. I'll be honest. She blinks like someone opened a door she thought was decorative. Don't make this weird, she says. I didn't make this, I say. I'm just not agreeing to carry it. Maid of honor, toast, laughter, the DJ's patter. The room exhaling as if the scary part, words, has passed and the easy part, chewing, can begin. Before we serve, the DJ says, the mic warm in his hand. We've got one quick housekeeping note from the bride's cousin, Rowan. 30 seconds. The heads turn like fields turning morning. I stand. My dress doesn't snag. Naomi touches my wrist and lets go. I walk to the mic thinking of two things. The smell of steam and roses, and my own bed at home with the window that whistles when it rains. Third housekeeping. 30 seconds and a seat. Hi, I say. The room shushes itself the way good rooms do when someone uses the tone reserved for safety instructions and oaths. Congratulations, Tessa and Cam. You look like a promise kept. I see their faces soften. Good. Begin with love. Always. I'm Rowan, I say. I'm at table 8. We all got the message for weeks. No plus ones, no exceptions, so we could make this night possible. We did it. We came as ourselves. There's a ripple of polite laughter, then that silence again, alert. The house rule's voice belongs to anyone who decides to carry it. Tonight, it is mine. I want to name something, and then I want to fix it, I say, clean. I've been seated next to my ex, Ben, who was invited under an exception. I was not asked. I am being asked to be gracious instead of being given a choice. I put my printed screenshot on the DJ's stand. The room can't see it, but I can. It steadies me more than the floor. I am moving seats, I say. Not to make a scene, but to make a boundary. If you are also seated with someone you did not consent to sit with, find me after the salads come and we'll switch. Hospitality includes neutrality. So do chairs. Laughter leaks out, grateful for a release valve. I am not done. Tonight is about love, I say, because weddings always need their thesis returned gently. Love doesn't hold people hostage with rules and exceptions. Love doesn't make someone a prop to the plot twist it's saving for dessert. Love picks a seat that doesn't cost you your nervous system. I turn to where my parents sit, back straight, faces performing neutrality, and soften my voice. I will be celebrating, I say. I will also be eating somewhere else. 30 seconds. The DJ nods. I hand him the mic. My legs don't shake. I walk to table 8. I pick up my place card and bends and slip both into my clutch. Aunt Linda's mouth makes a perfect O. Uncle Wayne uncaps a pen and then caps it again because he doesn't know what to do with his hands around a woman who used hers for something other than serving. Naomi lifts a hand in a small wave at table 12. A staffer catches my eye like we are both on a ship in heavy weather and he has a spare life vest. We've got a sweetheart table in the corner nobody's using, he whispers. Behind the pillar. Great acoustics. Perfect, I say, and then say the magic words that make rooms kinder. Thank you. Ben arrives at that exact moment, air kissing the room like a minor celebrity, collared shirt open one button too far. He looks around, sees me, and does that thing men like him do where they think every scene is a stage and every stage is theirs. Wow, he says. This is a surprise. No, I say. It's not. He laughs, feeling charming. So where do you want me? I'm easy. You're not, I say, and smile just enough to confuse him for 3 beats. And you're not my problem. I walk away. Naomi claims the pillar table with me. The staffer brings us 2 salads with extra pickled onions because not performing sometimes gets you gifts you didn't foresee. The harpist starts La Vie en Rose, slowly like a person who trusts she'll make it to the end without sprinting. At the pillar table, I can see everything. The first dance, the uncles starting a conga line prematurely, the bridesmaid who needs a sandwich more than compliments. It's a good seat. It's a seat I chose. 3 minutes in, the chair across from me scrapes. Aunt Lanny slides in, her lipstick a red that deserves holidays. Your mother is breathing into a napkin, she says, pouring herself water like she lives here. Good. She's practicing. I grin. You can't sit here. I can, she says, spearing a tomato. Housekeeping said so. Naomi leans in. We are table consent now, she whispers, and we clink our water glasses like a pact. People come and go. A cousin in from Portland sits for a song, confesses she broke off a one-sided thing last month, and sends me her therapist's name like a party favor. The photographer parks his plate by us between shots, tells us how much better rooms behave when one person keeps their voice at the register of diplomacy. A staffer hides behind our pillar for 20 seconds to breathe. We make space. We are a door. At dessert, Mom approaches, a tight bouquet of composure and a clutch. She sets it on our china as if it were a bribe. You embarrassed me, she says low. No, I say, and my voice is softer than I thought it would be. I embarrassed your plan. She blinks. We didn't plan to hurt you. I know, I say. You planned around me. She inhales, then exhales, plain. I thought seating you with him would be healing. Healing is not an ambush, I say. It's an invitation with an RSVP. She closes her eyes once like a person who has been wearing contacts for too long. I heard what you said, she admits, about chairs and consent. I heard people say, I wish I had said that. I hate that you had to. You don't have to hate it, I say. You can just not do it again. Her laugh is a soft, pained gust. You always make it sound simple, she says. It is, I say. Hard and simple aren't opposites. She nods, the way people nod when they are not done learning but are at least willing to begin. We saved you a slice of cake, she says, and sets it down. I didn't lick the frosting. It's a joke. It's also a reaching. Thank you, I say. I'll take it for the road. When the bouquet toss starts, Naomi and I slip out, each with a forkful of cake and the kind of laugh that doesn't need volume to be true. In the parking lot, the lights hum. We cue up a song on my phone, tinny and perfect, and dance badly, on purpose. In the window reflection, I look like someone who chose a different seat and survived. It looks good on me. At midnight, in my apartment, I tape my place card to the inside of a cabinet door where I put things I want to remember. The microphone taste is still in my mouth, metal and relief. I wash my face. I sleep without dreaming of tables. 4. 1 year later, and open seating. August again. The heat is a hand on the city's head, pressing. In my living room, a fan thwacks the air like an argument everyone has agreed to let slide. On my fridge, the magnet that holds my grocery list reads, "Seat yourself" in blue letters I painted badly, and love anyway. It's been a year since the mic. In that calendar, a new apartment with light that goes long, a Tuesday dinner rotation with friends where the rule is bring something you love. Leave with exactly what you brought. A therapist who says, "You're not difficult, you're detailed," and a mother who texted in May. Planning Sloane's baby shower. We'll ask before seating. Any requests? Progress is a stutter with a good beat. This time it's my brother's wedding. Cam and Tessa send the invite with a note. Open seating after the first 2 reserved rows. Consent table in the back if you want quiet. I laugh so hard I drop my phone on my foot. I text yes with a string of balloons I used to judge. I let myself be corny. Corny is allowed. At the venue, there's a sign by the door, lettered in the same 2 pretty loops, but the words are right. Tables are for eating, not ambushes. Sit with people who make your breath easy. Trade seats if you need to. No explanation required. Housekeeping voice is welcome. Tell a staffer if you need a hand. Love is not a surprise test. I take a photo and send it to Naomi. She replies with 7 cry-laugh emojis and 1 flexed bicep. You invented this, she writes. I just said it out loud, I write back. They put it in ink. Mom meets me at the entrance, hands on my upper arms like a steering wheel. She looks older in a way that suits her, like wood that figured out it can be stained any color it wants and picked honest. Rowan, she says, and I hear something new in my name. Permission. I blocked the weird uncle from your quadrant. Bathroom is to the left. Bar is to the right. Your table is wherever you sit. Thank you, I say, the kind with weight. She inhales. Exhales. I'm sorry, she says, unprompted, not dramatic. About last year. I am learning. You're doing, I say, because there is a difference. We stand at the edge of the dance floor and watch people seat themselves like adults, laughing, swapping, raising a hand for a staffer who knows this is not mutiny, this is manners. There is a table in the back with a little sign, consent, and it's crowded with teens and a grandmother and a man in a wheelchair smiling like somebody finally built the ramp he needed. Ben is not here. He lives in Denver now with a dog he makes content with. I know this because the internet tells you things you didn't ask to know. I am not sorry, and I am also not angry. Somebody else on some other timeline brought him as a +1 she wasn't allowed to have, to a room that did not ask her where she wanted to sit. Not my table. Not my night. Naomi slides up in a green dress that would get a stranger drinks in any decade. "Where do we sit?" she asks. "Wherever your ribs expand easily," I say. We pick a table by the door, because shared exits make us feel sane. Aunt Lanny plops down 2 chairs away with a plate that's 70% potato salad and 30% audacity. The DJ nods at me from his booth, a small salute. He is not the same DJ as last year, but he knows. They always do. They trade stories with their chords. During toasts, Cam cries into his napkin like a watercolor version of himself. Tessa raises a glass and says, "Last year my cousin stood up and made a room a little safer. Tonight, sit where you need. Say what you need. We love you back." The room claps like rain on a roof. It feels like being inside something that holds. Halfway through the night, Mom drags over a chair and sits next to me like a woman who has practiced. "Do you need anything?" she asks. Not the old kind of asking that is a performance review of my suffering, but the kind where she's genuinely taking inventory so she can get up and fetch it herself. "I'm good," I say. It's true. She watches the dance floor for a whole minute. "You took the mic and made me see the card under my hand," she says, almost to the candles. "I didn't know I was pressing it down." "I know," I say. "You lifted it." Later, when September comes on because it always does, and Naomi's face lights up like someone just turned her on from the factory reset, I let her pull me into the dance floor. We do the part where you pretend to play horns. We do the part where you misremember the words and nobody cares. We spin under a chandelier that looks like a frozen storm. We are ridiculous. It's glorious. I step outside for air during the father-daughter dance. The night is the perfect temperature that does not exist anywhere else except on the nights when you finally left a room and the room did not follow you. The cicadas are singing like the world's least disciplined choir. The valet flips keys in his hand like a coin he hasn't decided yet whether to spend. My phone buzzes. "Mom, you okay?" Me. "Yes." "Mom." "Me too." I put the phone in my clutch and lean against the cool stone wall. Through the windows, the tables glow like islands. People stand and sit and switch with invisible choreography. A teenager points to the consent sign and grins like she's in on an inside joke that will keep her alive. The DJ lifts a finger to the sky like, "Last one." And the crowd boos, then rejoices like they forgot how endings make beginnings start. On Sunday, I have my own dinner. Open seating written in blue on a piece of paper taped crooked to my door. Naomi brings peaches. Rafi brings a cake he didn't make and admits it, which is the best kind of store-bought. Aunt Lonnie brings nothing but a story, and everyone claps for the story like it's a pie. We drag chairs in from all over my apartment. The rules are simple. Printed on my fridge with a magnet that looks like a tiny loaf of bread. Sit where you breathe. Trade if you need. Ask before touching. Everyone gets a full plate. It's clumsy, warm, perfect. We eat too much. We clean together. When Naomi tries to stack plates in my hands, I take 2 and say, "I'm not a busing station." She laughs and kisses my cheek and takes 3 instead. We are learning in the open. After everyone leaves, I stand in my doorway and look at the chairs. None of them match. They belong. The table looks like a raft after a party. Glasses like little lighthouses. Crumbs like maps of countries that never needed borders. On my nightstand, tucked under a book, the place card from last year peeks out where I taped it. Rowan. Ben. I pull it free. I cross out his name with a pen that doesn't hesitate. I write, Rowan. Seat myself, and slide it back where I'll see it next Thursday when I'm looking for chapstick and confidence. I turn off the lights. The room exhales, the way bodies do when the person inside them didn't make themselves small for the story. I sit on my couch, which is a couch, not a test. I listen to nothing for a very long time. I am not a prop. I am not a seat filler. I am not the surprise at anyone's table. I am the one with the mic when I need it, the one with the quiet when I don't. I am the person who checks the card and writes in her own name if it's missing. I am the whole invitation,